Hello again. So I've just been doing kind of a series of Solar Plexus videos today because I'll do a video and then I'll be like, oh, I want to add on something a little bit more. So this video in particular, I kind of want to go over my my experience with how my Solar Plexus affects others around me who are not defined, and especially also as a manifestor, because my aura is a little bit different than a little bit, but like a lot more different than like a generator or projector. So with my parents growing up, they both had open solar plexus, and for someone who had a lot of emotions, like I'm super emotionally lit up. I think every single gate except for 2 gates are lit up in my solar plexus. So I had a lot of emotions growing up, and I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know what they meant. I didn't know how to work with them. I was taught that they were bad at a very young age, and so when I had these big emotions, my mom or my dad, mostly my mom, she would pick up, because she had a completely open solar plexus, she would pick up my emotions and completely amplify them and just not like go crazy, but I mean, she was feeling the emotions that I was feeling as a screaming child, and she would be amplifying them, and without the awareness that they weren't her emotions, she was thinking they were hers, and she probably felt a lot of guilt, a lot of frustration, like being like, why am I feeling these things, and not being able to distinguish between what was hers and what was mine. And so that was very confusing for her. I've had discussions with her about that, and there are things that obviously parents do their best at the time, when they raise their kids. And for me, there's just like having more awareness of how a defined solar plexus affects an open solar plexus can be so incredibly life-altering for people, especially children and parents, and how they're treated and behaved when there is more of an expanded awareness of what the mechanical dynamics are within each chart and how we're all really interacting. So that was my experience with my mom growing up, and it was just kind of a big shit show because she was just constantly picking up and amplifying my emotions. With my partner, and even like most of my partners that I've been with, but just going to reflect on my most recent one, is that we had complete opposite charts. He was defined where I was undefined, and vice versa. So he grew up with a mother who had a very similar chart to me, emotional authority, defined, and so he had a lot of conditioning surrounding that, and emotions, and like that kind of uncontrollable wave where someone doesn't have an awareness of their emotions. And so he had a lot of conditioning surrounding that. And when I came in, I was super conditioned with my solar plexus, my defined solar plexus, and there was a lot of trauma, and we were just kind of like repeating patterns that and playing out things that happened in our parents' relationship. And that was why human design was so incredibly helpful for us, because we began to see those dynamics and be like, oh, okay, like the emotions that he's feeling, they're actually not his. And just to like be completely honest, like I was so out of touch with my solar plexus and my emotions that my partner would pick up on my emotions before I even knew about them. Like I would literally be sitting working, and he'd be sitting on the couch, and he'd be like, man, I'm feeling like I need to like get up and like leave or run away. I just feel really trapped. And he would just have these feelings, and I'd be like, oh, that's actually me, because I'm like feeling like that with my work. And I just didn't realize it because I wasn't tapped into my emotions. I was shoving them down. I wasn't honoring them. I wasn't honoring what my body needed. And so someone with an open solar plexus can be more in tune with those defined solar plexus and affect them in a way that can be like really stressful, because especially when they don't know that those emotions are not theirs. And so for anyone who's in a relationship where there's one undefined and one defined solar plexus, this is something that maybe that you can become a little bit more aware of and kind of play around with, because when there's an awareness of it, there's it opens the door for more communication and learning how to work with each other a little bit more. And I'm not going to say that it's easy at all, because it's not. Like, it requires a lot of like putting your ego aside and like taking time apart to cool off. Like, for example, when my emotions were like really crazy, sometimes my wave would just like ratchet right up, and I just felt like I had no control over it. And my partner would pick up on it, and then we would get in a fight, and then it'd be like, I need to leave. Like, I need to leave because he's picking up on my emotions, and then he's amplifying them, and it's turning into this big thing, and neither of us could control the emotions. And so I would leave. I'm a split definition, so I would go to the store and walk around. I would be around other people to see if I could get a different perspective to allow my emotions to kind of cool down a little bit. And then I would come back home, and then it would be like, okay, like, all is good. Like, when I would leave, he would get out of my aura, or I would get out of his aura, and then like those emotions would slowly disappear for him, and he would realize they were not his. And so sometimes just like taking that space, especially when there's more of like, there's more heated emotions that are not as easy to control, that's like a really helpful thing that we did. So and I also want to speak to the aspect of me being a manifestor with my aura. So just any type, Ra really talks about this a lot, and I don't know if anyone who's watching this has ever read the Manifestor Manifesto, but Ra talks a little bit more in depth about this. But manifestors, we walk in the room and we're just kind of like, we're in our own little world. We're in our bubble. We're in this repelling, like, closed aura, not like in a negative way. It's just like we're kind of like in this ball, and we walk into a room, and instantly everyone knows when a manifestor walks in the room. They feel it. They're not even conscious of it, but like, we walk into a room and it's like they feel it. They feel the aura. And so for someone who is an emotional manifestor, like a very emotionally lit up manifestor, whatever you're feeling, everyone else in that room is going to pick up on it. They may not know it's you, but they're going to pick it up. And if 50% of the population, half of the people in that room are undefined, they're going to be picking up those emotions, and they're going to be amplifying it and then thinking it's theirs. So you can see how this can get incredibly, very, very messy very, very quickly when you have an unaware emotional manifestor walking into a room or being around people and like having that impact on that person. There's a responsibility for someone who understands the mechanics of their chart and how their aura works and how they affect other people, to inform others of how you're feeling, so they know that the emotions are yours, so it takes that pressure off them. Or you go off and you cool yourself down a little bit somewhere, so you get in a little bit more of a neutral or higher state, or you just completely remove yourself from whatever situation and you just cancel your plans and you just be with yourself. Like, there are more options, but those are like the top things that I really practice when I feel like I'm on an emotional wave, because I don't want to affect others in that way. That's not the impact that I wish to have on people that I'm interacting with. Like, I want to be a kind, person, and I feel like there's a responsibility as someone with this much impact, and I don't want to say power, but just like with my aura, it just can be very it can feel very big and overwhelming for people who don't understand the auras of manifestors, and then also the emotions as well. So depending on what you want your impact to be, obviously you figure that out for yourself. But yeah, I just wanted to share a couple of those things of how the defined solar plexus affects an open solar plexus, and then also the impact of being an emotional manifestor and how that affects other people, and just kind of my experience and what's been helpful for me to gain a greater awareness so that I can have more of that positive impact from a place of beautiful mutation versus having it be something, I don't say negative or positive, just like more of a higher vibration, and not affecting people from a lower vibrational place. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.